I'm like, oh, shit. I even went in front of my security. I'm like, oh, shit, let me go tap it with Birdman real quick. We about to watch the show. As soon as I walk down, I see Jim Jones. Now, I'm going to keep it a being with y'all. And again, I'm only speaking from my perspective. And y'all know, like, when I be telling these stories, I don't never be hyping nothing, right? Like, I think I'm pretty fair. I was walking quickly to get to Birdman, but right behind Birdman was Jim Jones. Jim Jones had brought his mom there. I didn't even realize he brought his mom. Like, Mama Jones, he brought his mom. So I'm walking mad quickly. But I ain't gonna lie to you, I think the way Jim seen it was like I'm walking up on him. I swear. Like, cause I'm walking mad quick. And so I see Birdman and I see Jim Jones. And I'm like, oh, Jim, what up? Now let me tell you the history with me and Jim. I don't know if in history. I did an interview with Kanye West. Kanye West said he gave Jim Jones $2 million and he was mad that Jim Jones couldn't make him a PDF. Okay, that went viral. Jim was trying to get some buzz at the time. Jim, I don't know how, like, through an intermediary, hits me to say, yo, I want to do an interview responding to Ye. It never happened, but while I set it up, Jim says to me, yo, we should probably get on the phone because, I just want to make sure we good, right? That happens with mad artists, Chad. Like, sometimes an artist want to talk to you before getting on set with you because they don't know if you about to just ask them some federal shit or whatever. So that's valid with me. It's all cool. So that's the last thing I know about anything with me and Jim Jones.
Listen up. Word on the street is Jim Jones tried to press DJ Akademiks at that YoungBoy show, and it's shaking the whole scene. Being a content creator sounds lit, but here's the real deal. When you talk for hours every day, you forget half the stuff you say. Imagine meeting Lil TJ years later and not remembering what you said last week. But he still does because your words hit different. That's the risk of living online. Your opinions never die. Acts live for hours talking about everybody in the game, and not everyone's built to take that heat. But here's the twist, this whole Jim Jones situation might not even be about what Axe said on stream. If Jimmy's really mad, it's probably about Axe's connection to 6ix9ine. In the streets, it ain't about being your own man. It's about who you stand next to. And Jim's from that world where loyalty and history weigh heavier than logic.
I kept trying to ask him, I said, what me and 6ix9ine got to do with you? Or what I got to do with if you and 6ix9ine got something? Now, granted, Chad, I keep telling you, rappers are the best at, if they can't find the person they don't like, someone else inherits. So it's like Dave Free seeing me, and Dave Free saying, yo, well, I'll never see Drake ever in life, so let me tell you why I'm mad at Drake. Okay, cool. I guess Jim Jones is like, he's mad at 6ix9ine? And I was thinking, I'm like, yo, is he mad at, like, how is he mad at 6ix9ine and coming at me? Y'all two were 9 Trey Bloods. I was never a 9 Trey Blood, and I don't want to be one. If y'all got a problem, and here's the thing, I was thinking about their issue a little bit more. When 6ix9ine was a 9 Trey Blood, Jim knew about it before everybody got locked up. He could have prevented this by trying to do whatever he had to do then. 6ix9ine gets locked up with some of the 9 Trey dudes, tells on the 9 Trey dudes. And then afterwards, 6ix9ine is still clowning because 6ix9ine like wearing that rat sleeve. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't care. But anyway, that happened. I was trying to see, like, because usually I'm one of them people. I talk, like, I have that conversation. I know some of y'all, like, again, after that handshake and even like that energy, I could have just said, I'm gonna just leave him alone. I walked up. I thought we could have a conversation. He just wasn't trying to have a conversation. So he was just like, yo, man, I ain't trying to have no conversation. He's like, listen, man, just enjoy the show. And I'm like, okay. Then he's like, yo, he said something like, yo, and if anybody got a problem with me, they can let me know. I'm like, all right. Anyway.
Remember, his crew got rocked when 6ix9ine flipped. People like Mel Matrix and Shotty took 10 to 15 years, lost everything, while 6ix9ine ain't just moved on like nothing happened. So if you're Akademiks, standing shoulder to shoulder with 6ix9ine, promoting him like he's untouchable street dudes like Jim, see that as betrayal. To him, that's guilt by association, plain and simple. That's the energy fueling all this tension. In Jim's eyes, if you're still cool with 6ix9ine today, then you're part of the problem. It doesn't matter if it's fair or logical. Street politics don't run on logic. Jim pulled up on Ak with what some folks are calling young energy. But come on, what's really cool about acting like a rookie when you're pushing 50? Nothing at all. That ain't confidence, that's desperation leaking through. Now let's break it down.
Cool. So now, so when I see Jim Jones, I'm like, oh, Jim, what up? And Jim what up back at me is a different type of what up. He's like, what up? And I'm like, whoa. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it's how I walked up, because I walked up like OG3. Remember, you saw OG3 walked up with me? I walked up, but I was just walking quickly to get to Birdman. Whatever. So anyway, that happened. I'm like, damn. I'm like, first of all, I'm gonna give Jim his credit. Jim was the oldest YN in the building, but he was on YN timing. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I ain't no liar. Jim, I just Googled his age, Jim 49. Jim was the oldest YN up in the building there, but he was on YN timing. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you could tell. Jim, and I said to myself, I said, maybe it's because of Young Boy concert. Everybody a little bit aggressive here. So I go over to say, yo, Jim, we gotta get up and we gotta go do the interview. That's what I'm like, we gotta go do the interview. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't know if it's because Young Boy was on stage, Jim Jones turned to a YN on me. I swear. Jim Jones was like, yo, hold on, let me holler at you, man. Let me holler at you. And you know what? It just started to be a little bit more fidget. I'm like, is he okay now? Jim is like, yo, listen, man. I got to talk to you. I'm like, all right, what up? What's good? He's like, yo. Now, he was taking a second to kind of get out his point, but this was his point. And I was trying to like do the whole quoting thing, but he he kept asking questions like, yo, do y'all think shit y'all do online is cool? So I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm kind of confused, honestly. I'm legit confused. And I know some people are going to be like, no, accurate, playing dumb, but I'm kind of confused because I'm also trying to figure out what it could be, right? And I didn't get too much info out of him, but he mentioned 6ix9ine. He said, whatever 6ix9ine. Then he's like, yo, y'all gotta know, it ain't safe when niggas is playing with me like that. And I'm thinking about, I'm like, what the dude?
Akademiks' version of the story doesn't even sound like young energy. It sounds like someone trying to prove he still got it, but in the wrong way. It sounds like a man realizing he's fighting a war he can't win the internet. Jim knows that face to face. 6ix9ine ain't no threat. In the streets, Tekashi's a peon, no credibility, no weight. He can't even stand next to Jim's legacy. But online, that's a whole different battlefield, and 6ix9ine owns it. He's mastered how to twist the narrative, light up blogs, and make sure his name always trends first. Jim can't compete with that kind of digital chaos. Imagine sitting at home, scrolling your feed, and every post screaming, 6ix9ine calls Jim Jones a rat, or 6ix9ine drops paperwork. That kind of pressure builds up fast. Jim's not reacting out of fear for his safety. He's reacting cause 6ix9ine's dangerous online. That's the part eating him alive. You can see the frustration all over Jim, especially since Akademiks is tight with Wack 100 and everyone knows Jim and Wack been at each other's necks for years. So now Ak's just stuck in the middle, catching stray shots. It doesn't even feel like Jim's issue is directly with him. It's more like Jim can't get to Wack, can't reach 6ix9ine, so he's swinging at whoever's close. And that happens to be Ak. Think about it. When 6ix9ine last started ranting about Jim, it wasn't even on Ak's show, it was on another podcast. So whatever energy Jim's carrying now came way after. And here's the wild part, Jim was literally hitting Ak up for an interview. He wanted to hop on a call with him. So if you really had all that smoke from the start, why try to link up? It just doesn't add up. It looks fake, like he was cool until things didn't go his way, then flipped the script. At first, Jim handled it right. He pulled Ak to the side for a man-to-man convo, total respect move. But then it switched quick. That calm, mature energy turned into a full-blown meltdown. Seeing a 9-year-old man wild out like a teenager, that's not strength, it's frustration spilling out for the world to see. That was straight up embarrassing. Like, what are you even putting on that show for?
Jim was on his YN energy, man. I'm hoping he was just in a, maybe an upset frame of mind for that time, but I don't know. I don't know. Then everybody else tells me, they're like, I ain't gonna lie to you, that's exactly how Jim is. He's usually pretty angry. So, whatever. The only thing that I could really think about, obviously 6ix9ine's been saying whatever about Jim Jones, right? They're both in the gang, right? I'm a nigga. If Jim Jones says something about 6ix9ine, I'm posting. If 6ix9ine says something about Jim Jones, I'm posting that too. Like, that is what it is. I was thinking maybe it was this clip. Like, I was thinking it was this clip. I think we posted it. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was the clip where 6ix9ine did the podcast with Charleston White and Steiny, and he talked about Mel Matrix, right? Because, like, again, he wouldn't like tell me exactly what it is, but I felt like it was over some 9 Trey blood shit. That's what I'm saying. Jim Jones is still moving around like Hawaiian, bro.
It didn't look like power. It looked like pure desperation spilling out for everyone to see. From what people saw, Akademiks wasn't even on that type of timing. He was chill, calm, telling Jim, bro, we good. We about to do the interview. I'm not here for drama. Ak wasn't pressing nothing. He was keeping it low key, trying to keep the peace. But Jim, he's the one who started turning the heat up. It felt like watching someone get madder and madder mid-conversation, looking for any reason to snap. Ak kept saying, bro, I got no issue with you. What's going on? But Jim flipped it into some weird performance. He kept repeating, yeah, enjoy the show. Yeah, enjoy the show. Like he was trying to prove something. Then out of nowhere, he's shouting, if anybody got a problem with me, what's up? Like what? Who even rolled in with Ak that could have been coming for you, Jimmy? That's not normal energy, that's paranoia on full display. Honestly, the way Jim was moving looked wild, like he was seeing smoke that wasn't even there. It gave off that vibe like somebody hit a line before the event, hyper, twitchy, like he was stuck in his own headspace. Pulling someone aside to talk man to man is grown behavior. That's respect. But this tripping out energy, that's like seeing ghosts in a room full of people just vibing. And if you look at the backstage clips from that Young Boy show, everybody was chill, laughing, relaxed, having a good time. Except Jim, he was pacing, tense, looking like he was gearing up for a fight that didn't exist. Nobody else was on that. That's what makes it even crazier. He turned what should have been a regular night into a full-blown scene. Nobody was thinking about beef, but Jim made it look like the whole room was against him. That's insecurity screaming out loud, especially for a vet in the game. Instead of locking in the interview or just enjoying the show, he built tension out of thin air, and that's not a good look for someone with his legacy. And let's be real, the optics were terrible. Jim Jones walking into a Young Boy show, surrounded by one of the youngest, hottest crowds in rap, and instead of keeping it smooth, he's snapping on Akademiks like it's life or death. To this new generation, that doesn't read as tough, it reads as pressed. It's like he's trying to prove something to a crowd that already moved on from that type of street energy. Meanwhile, Akademiks walked out untouched. He didn't wild out, didn't match the hostility, just stayed chill. And that made Jimmy look even worse. Because when you're almost 50, standing in a room full of young stars yelling about problems nobody else even sees, you don't look powerful, you look out of place. The internet caught that quick. People online clowning the footage saying Jim looked paranoid, desperate, and stuck in an era that's long gone. At the end of the day, this wasn't about a fight, it was about image. And in that moment, Jim looked like he lost control of his own. He wanted respect, but what he got was whispers that maybe the pressure's finally catching up to him. Once those clips hit the internet, the reaction was brutal. Fans didn't hold back. They said Jim didn't look like a boss. He looked like a man fighting shadows. Some even joked that he was battling paranoia more than he was battling Akademiks. And that's a nightmare for someone like Jim, because in the streets, perception is everything. The second people think you're losing your cool, that aura of power starts to fade. Twitter went crazy with memes and jokes, fans calling him an old head stuck in 2009, while others said Akademiks actually came out looking more solid just by staying calm. Imagine that the media guy walks away looking tougher than the rapper who built his whole career on respect. That's wild. It completely flips the script in a way Jim definitely didn't want. And let's keep it real, this ain't the first time the internet's put pressure on Jimmy. Every single time 6ix9ine drops his name, it trends. Every time Wack 100 throws shade, it goes viral. And instead of letting it slide, Jim always takes the bait and the internet eats it up again and again. At this point, it's starting to look like he's feeding into the hands of the same people he claims to hate. That's why this whole situation feels way bigger than just some backstage tension. It's about how Jim Jones is being seen today. To a lot of fans, he's not coming off like that untouchable Harlem legend anymore. He's looking more like someone rattled by the same game he once controlled. Backstage, the vibe was pure love. People were smiling, dapping up, showing unity. OG3 literally walked up on Vlad and gave him a hug that lasted like 30 seconds straight. That's how happy everyone was. No beef, no weird energy, just real celebration. Outside was a little different. Fans were wild, a few scrapping in the crowd. One dude even got jumped just for yelling "Free Lil Durk." But inside, it was all good vibes. Everyone was there to celebrate YoungBoy finally being free to move again, finally able to travel and perform after all that time. That's what the night was supposed to be about. But instead of matching that energy, Jim walked in with the wrong vibe and it looked bad. Nothing gangster about it, nothing impressive, just straight corny. Jimmy's got real enemies out there, real street issues he's claimed for years. If he wanted to press someone, he's got a long list of actual ops, but Akademiks, over something 6ix9ine in said, when Ak wasn't even involved, that's wild misplaced energy. It just makes Jimmy look pressed over the wrong person. So I'ma leave it right here. What do you think? Did Akademiks actually do something behind the scenes that set Jim off? Or was this just him snapping at the wrong time in the wrong place? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, share this video, and keep the convo going. The culture never sleeps, and neither do we.